Today I'm going to show you how to forge a fairly simple one-piece wall hook that most people call a lantern hook today. We used to call it a plant hanger, but whatever you use it for, it's a fairly straightforward and simple project. Just requires a little bit of planning. This hook is basically an exercise in drawing down bar stock from one size to another. I need to start with a 1/2 inch square bar because there are 3 areas in this hook that require this volume. The rest of it just needs to disappear, so I'm going to be doing a lot of hammering. I do all my drawing out on the corners of the anvil. I don't have any sharp corners on my anvil. The front half of my anvil has a really large radius. I've never measured it, but it must be at least a 3/4 inch radius. And then it tapers back to about a 1/4 to 1/2 inch radius near the back. If I need a sharper corner than that, I'll set up a block in my hardy hole. I certainly don't think you should use the corner of your anvil like a cold chisel. I've seen a lot of people, they have their edges so sharp they can cut steel with them. Well, that really doesn't have much place in most blacksmithing, or at least the way I work. The rounded corners allows you to make smooth transitions from one cross section to another. I also don't do any drawing down over the horn of the anvil. The horn wasn't designed for heavy hammering. Even though it can withstand it, it flexes too much and you lose too much energy. I do all my drawing down on the large radius of my anvil and as close to the center as the anvil as I can. That way the work is directly supported over the base and all the energy goes into drawing out the metal. So in the last couple of heats I've been working at thinning down the horizontal bar of this hook. I left a short section of the original bar at the tip because I know I'm going to need extra material to forge the actual hook, and I'm sort of thinking about how I want to do that while I'm hammering out the rest of the bar. I'm working with a bar that's a lot longer than I need. I'll just be cutting it down later when I decide where I need to cut it. Here I'm establishing the length of material that I'm going to be using to finish the horizontal section of this hook. I'm creating a well-defined shoulder here because this offset is going to define the transition between the horizontal bar and the vertical section of the wall hook that is going to be mounted to the wall. And this is the second area where I'm going to need extra material, so I don't want to thin down this section at all. And now that I have the material outlined that I'm going to be using for this horizontal bar, it's just a matter of hammering it down to an even bar thickness. Here I'm forging the actual hook. I'm creating an offset to leave some material for a 90-degree bend that I want at the transition from the horizontal bar to the hook. And then once I have this transition defined, it's just a matter of hammering out the rest of the material into the cross section that I need for the hook. I'm creating the 90-degree bend for the hook at the vise. That way I can hang on to the heavy section of that corner without distorting the horizontal bar. And in this heat, I'm just bringing the material around a little bit more to define that sharp shoulder that I want at the corner of this hook. I don't have the camera set up at the right angle here, but I just want to make it clear that I'm not hammering this corner into the jaws of the vise. The corner is held out far enough so that I can move the material around without hitting the jaws. Here I'm just doing a little bit of cleanup on that corner, and you can see how I'm using the rounded corners of this anvil to create the smooth transitions that I'm looking for. Now I'm ready to start working on the vertical portion of the hook that's going to be mounted to the wall. I've just cut this at a random length. Obviously, if you're making a number of these, you're going to need to keep track of this stuff to be able to duplicate it. The vertical section has two circular areas that are going to be used to mount it to the wall, and then those two circular areas are connected with a thin bar stock. So here I'm defining the shoulder of the upper circular area, and then I'm going to define the shoulder that I need for the material for the lower circular area, and then I'm just going to thin out everything in between those two shoulders. Here I'm using a cross peen to forge out the lower circular area of this hook. I want this pad to have a very well-defined shoulder at the transition, so I'm forging it with the front side facing down so it's being forged up against the corner of the anvil. For the upper pad, I don't want any shoulder. I just want a very smooth transition from the horizontal bar to the vertical section of the hook. So I'm forging this good side up, and I'm working in the center of the anvil so I can hammer this area very smooth. And now that all the shaping is done, all we have to do is just bend it to its final shape and do any cleanup and straightening that we need to do to get it to work. And here's the final piece all cleaned up and with the holes drilled. Hi, I'm Dennis and thanks for watching. If you like this video, by all means give it a thumbs up. If you want to support this channel, you have a couple of options to do that. The first thing, of course, is to just subscribe. Second, if you have ideas or photographs of things you'd like to see on this channel, send them along. I'll turn them into a video. If you want to lend your financial support to this channel, you have a couple of options there. You can go to my channel homepage and click on the options that you see in the banner. So thank you for your support, and with your help I'll be doing this for some time to come. We'll see you next time.